Hey show, thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the channel. I hope my camera stays in focus the way that I want it to. Try not to look at the viewfinder and actually look into the camera lens. Bear with me, we still learning out here. Welcome to my first video. And it's only right to show you what I do on a normal basis. Quickly introduce myself. I am Sho from the United Kingdom. I sew clothes, I thrift them, I upcycle, I revamp. This is the first video of many. In this video, I will be showing you two pieces which I actually thrifted for £2 each. I thrifted them from Bernardo's. Don't know about Bernardo's, get to know. It's probably the most diverse charity shop that we have out there. In terms of charity shopping, I buy most of my clothes from the charity shop. You'll be very surprised what type of gems you can find there. In terms of thrifting, I do feel like thrifting is now becoming a lot more expensive than brand new clothes. I mean, definitely if you're in the city. So I do always try to lean towards thrifting and upcycling, and I would say I go thrifting about twice a month. So I do have quite a large collection of clothes. But I'm not the type of person to break the bank for it. Let me start right there. Originally, I picked up these two pieces of clothing without any intention. The material straight away caught my attention. But I was on Pinterest and I did come across this image. And I liked it, but I don't usually wear purple. Purple is not my colour scheme at the moment. I've been wearing a lot of beiges, neutral colors, as you can tell, greens, khakis, blacks, more black, and a lot of black. But I don't know, something about this piece really caught my attention. I mean, I've seen stuff like it, but I just knew that this is something that I wanted to have, but just not in that color. So I went online, tried to see what I could find. There was absolutely nothing on the table. Don't get it twisted, I do think purple clothing is beautiful. Just for me right now, that's not my vibe. That's just not my vibe. I already bought these pieces of clothing for my material capsule and I wanted this top. So this was the best way to utilize this. So technically this wasn't planned, but it worked out. Mind you, when you're creating pieces of clothing from an image, I tend not to replicate it in the exact same way because I like to put my own little spin on it, if that makes sense. So the vibe, off shoulder, well fitted, stretchy, and I want it waist length. Those were my four main must-have. At first when I picked it up in the shop, I'm just going to refer to the charity as shop, so please don't get it twisted. This is something that a mum would wear when she's picking up her kids from school and it's cold and she's chatting to all the other mums. That's where I thought this item may have come from. I don't know. I like to pick up a piece of clothing and try and imagine who would have worn this. I don't know, maybe that's my imagination just running a little bit wild. But it was definitely very cute, very cozy. Absolutely not my style, but the quality was so good. Yeah, I was definitely feeling it. So the fur coat was a beige colour on the outside and then a brown colour on the inside. Absolutely gorgeous. And then with the cardigan, it was also a light beige. No collar, no buttons, just a complete open cardigan. The arms were a little bit oversized. That's the reason to why I just knew that this wasn't going to stay a cardigan anymore. I don't know how, but my brain saw these two and just thought, yeah, we've got to make something here. And then I just thought, alrighty, let's begin. So this is my workstation. My workstation can change depending on what I need to do and where I'm at. So I'm just laying out my fabric now. One thing about me, I do not measure. I do not measure. What you can see on the screen, top that I know fits me very well, and I'm using that for reference. When I've spoken to other designers, they ask me, why don't you measure? Why don't you at least plan out what it's gonna be like? And I'm so sorry, but I just think that it takes away from my freedom. I don't always want something to be fitting me perfectly. There are times for it, of course, when you are tailoring, but this is creation, so we can tie, zip, and button where we need to. So to begin with, I'm simply just buttoning up the cardigan. As I mentioned, this cardigan didn't come with any buttons or any zips, so it was super easy to just make it work. And then I'm just slicing off the top because now this is where the fur is gonna go. I mean, you can just tell, like, I just don't hold back with the scissors. The whole top came off. It gotta go. And now I'm roughly trying to feel out how much material should I cut. From the fur coat, I decided to cut a semicircle at the bottom, and then I knew that that was gonna be my top half. If you'd like me to give you an in-detail tutorial on how to complete your bobbin, add your thread, your new needles, I can do that. Just say so and I'll do that. I've cut down the top, that's where my head's gonna go. And I'm simply just sewing up the sides. You see, absolutely no measurement is needed. You just need to vibe it out. And I think that sometimes you can easily get yourself a little bit frustrated by always having tape and measuring. It's just not necessary sometimes. And then I was simply just feeling how it's gonna sit on my shoulders, and then once I was happy, I just decided to sew the other side. So I just making it tight enough. Now for the body part, where I originally pinned, I then sewed that all the way up. So once I had these two pieces, it was now time to sew them together. I'm not gonna lie, this part was a little bit tricky because you're now dealing with not being able to see the base of your fabric because there's so much fur. So I was struggling a little bit, but you know, sometimes we gotta fight with some fabric. And like I said, on my tick list, I wanted it tight fitting, and you can see how loose and baggy the sleeves were. See, with this top, I like my sleeves to be sucked into my body. And to do that, I basically get the material and I sew it so it sucks the extra fabric in, so the fabric is sucked onto my skin. I don't know if that made sense. I hope you followed. It's just a preference. I'm not always like this, but I wanted it for this. Along with that, I also wanted it to be a little bit body fitting, you know? Now, I wouldn't say I have the best body, but I still want to give myself that, you know, embrace my shape a little bit more. On my checklist, I said that the top was too long. We gotta cut that down. This was not a long top thing. In this part, I'm actually hemming the body. In order to avoid frays and loose threads, I do like to hem the material. Again, this is not necessary. You can freestyle it and keep it open, which I usually do because I ain't got time to be always hemming. Thank God we hemmed with no issues. I don't know if you've ever hemmed before and it's not worked the way that you wanted to. Yeah. That's frustrating. It's frustrating. And then in this clip, I was thinking, should I add arm cuffs to the top on the end of the sleeve, or is that doing too much? Because this, again, wasn't part of the original brain plan. Just do it! Let's get it, let's go. I really thought of that in the moment. I just thought it'd be so freaking cute. This part was probably the most fiddly part because you're sewing on fur on fur, and it's just like you're fighting it. You want the fur to look good and whatever. Yeah, this was a hassle. But I did it, and I did it twice. And this was the outcome. I can't lie, I was absolutely geeking. I would say this piece took me about an hour and a half. I then wore that for dinner the next night. Like I said, fitting it to a top that you're already comfortable with just made it fit so snug. I don't own a lot of off-the-shoulder tops, and I do want to expand on that area, but one design at a time. I mean, tops like this already do exist, the same style. I'm not here to say that I created the style, absolutely not. I'm here to say that I replicated it into my own version, and I really just want to inspire you to look at what's in your wardrobe and see if you can change the design of it. Ideally, I do want to have my wardrobe full of all of my own designs, from the jackets to the jeans to the tops to the vests, everything. And it takes time. And now I've decided that I want to take you on that journey with me. There's such a beauty in wearing something that you made. Some people don't care about that stuff, but I care about it. But for me, it just feels even more sentimental. The mind is so brilliant, and you should never underestimate yourself. You know, fabrics can be complex, but you shouldn't ever tie yourself down to thinking that you're not capable of creating something. It just takes patience. Thank God this only took me an hour and a half. But this was the finished piece. And let me know what you would add to the top. Is there something different that you would have changed, or would you have added, or would you have made it into a dress? Like, let me know. Thank you so much for tuning in with the show, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye. I ain't got time to measure. I ain't got time to be measuring. I ain't got time for that.